My name is Samson Onajaitulu, representing Afrobizgermany and the African diaspora in Germany. I'm a Nigerian, and it's good to await foreign investors coming to Africa. I want to know what plans you have for investing in research in Africa, because I think research is going to support the African economy more. And first of all, what are the plans for the database? Because the database is the nucleus of every research in the world. And also talking about electricity, a lot of money has been put into, like in Nigeria, the billions have been invested in electricity, and the outcome has been zero all along. So what's your plan to secure, your investment in electricity so that it doesn't go in the same drain that has been going into corruption?
Well, on the data side, I think the critical thing is Africa must continue to invest in research and development. And the share of the GDP that's actually spent on research and development is very small. It's less than 1% compared to the developed countries. So a lot more investments are needed in R&D. But at the same time, which is very important for the compact with Africa, is what happens to intellectual property rights. Because if you cannot protect intellectual property rights when people have innovations, then private sector are not going to really invest significantly in that area. That's why, as part of this compact with Africa, we're looking at how to promote the legal and the regulatory environment that will deal with things like investment codes, that will also deal with protection of intellectual property, but also at the same time to have judicial systems that will be able to enforce contracts, because if you do research and translate that innovation into products, you've got to be able to rig that product. So this is all part of what the compact is doing. The second thing is, we at the African Development Bank believe that we must accelerate investment in ICT infrastructure, because ICT is the key for the growth of a digital economy, and that's where all the data management really is. The African Development Bank has invested in what we call the East Africa submarine cable system, fiber optic system that links 22 countries, right? And so the cost of data going down, and access to internet being faster, and therefore you can have a lot of content added. It's very important. So at the African Development Bank, we're working now with an African institution called Smart Africa to invest in what we call data centers. Because if you don't have data centers, you're just working for others. So we want Africa to have data centers. We also want to support digital entrepreneurs in Africa to take advantage of data for content development, especially in service industry in Africa. And we also want to create Silicon Valleys that actually take young people in Africa and create the new billionaires of Africa straight out of the digital economy. And that's why at the African Development Bank, we are investing in, over the next 10 years, to help produce about 230,000 computer coders who are going to be linked to big data, like the cloud data and all of that, which is key for you in the service industry. When it comes to the issue of electricity, I wouldn't say the investments in electricity in Nigeria is zero. No way. All countries need to do more. But there are three issues that are very critical. I think that Olivia was saying that. First is that we are committed to driving the reforms of the utilities. In many African countries today, the utilities are loss-making utilities. And so as part of our new deal on Africa, on energy for Africa, the African Development Bank is committed to helping to drive reforms of the utilities in Africa. Privatize them, commercialize them, make them profitable so that private sector can actually put more money into these utilities. Secondly is that there has to be a change in the tariff systems for a lot of this. If you take power, the cost of generating power is so high that the price that people pay doesn't really compensate for that cost. So there must be a cost-reflective tariff system to encourage private investors whether it's in off-grid, whether it's in mini-grid, whether it is in grid systems, to make those investments in the energy sector. Third is, part of technology is also to cut down on corruption in the power sector, because a lot of illegal connections are made by people. And so when you use technology, you are able to track that and maintain and avoid that. And finally, I think it's, again, the way in which you can empower households in Africa, in the energy sector, is if I know that I can actually generate power myself. And that's what the off-grid revolution allows you to do. You know, you have a single solar panel system that allows you to generate electricity, you know, for yourself, and you can sell it also to the grid. So decentralized energy systems also decentralizes power to citizens as well.